So I feel like when we're thinking about something so often, we want it to happen. We think it should happen this specific way. And one, we don't know what the greater plan is, whatever you believe in. But some things just won't happen for you because they're not meant to. And if you can get to a point of trusting that you're always in the right place at the right time and the perfect plan is already selected and whatever comes to you is supposed to, like that's like a huge part of it. But also like getting out of your own way. So wanting something to happen and taking aligned action. But if you're in it too much, you're almost like pushing it away because you're like obsessing over it. Whereas if they're out there living their life, having a good time, doing things that they like, all this stuff that they want keeps coming. And then you have the examples where people that don't manifest or are shitty people still get all these really good things. It's just like they're just not even thinking about it. Things are just happening. You just got to get out of your own way.
Yeah.
And then there's the money thing. Mm-mm. Because I feel like a lot of the manifestation, a lot of the things that we want are somehow attached to money, to a monetary, compensation or whatever.
I feel like money is the quickest jump to getting what you want without doing the levels in everyone's brain. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you have money, you can, you have freedom, right? To do the things. And money is, I don't believe money is like the thing to aspire for, but it's really fucking helpful. Yeah. Am I allowed to swear
you are
on this?
allowed to swear.
I swear all the time.
You are allowed to swear. You are allowed to swear. Yeah.
Cool.
Can we swear?
It's a little bit late now.
Yeah. Well.
Are you all good with swearing at home? Who swears more at home, mom or dad? Mom.
It's the Aries in us.
It is.
There you go, Christine. There you go. Can't escape that, Christine.
But they don't swear. My kids don't swear. They're only allowed to swear to songs in the car. If there's a song on that's got swear words, they can swear on that.
Hip hop 90s.
Yeah, all of that.
Yeah, good.
Then it's fine. But going back to that. So when you are, you have a plan and you want to, in our capitalist society, right? Mm-hmm. Most of the time you need some monetary help or whatever you want to call it to get there.
Yeah.
And then you're putting yourself into situations that are not great. But in your mind, you understand that it's my point B between where I am, point A, and my point C, where I want to be. And then you are there in B, but you might not be loving B.
Yeah.
But so what would you tell someone who is in that situation of a bit stuck, but can see the light, but is not loving to see the light? It's just...
I feel like there's not any general information. It's so specific and it's so unique. Because for example, you can be working in a job that you really don't want because you're doing it for this amount of time to save this money to get here. And we often all do things that we don't enjoy doing. But then at the same point, I've been in companies, for example, where the company wants to get to this point where they are having their own contracts, not subcontracting, for an example. But they're like, oh no, but we're going to do all this labor hire and all this subcontracting to get there. And it's like, yes, that will bring in money and that will eventually hopefully lead you there, but you've actually lost sight of the vision. If what you want to do is have your own contracts, sometimes you have to work towards having your own contracts and stop with the distractions and stop with the things that you think you should be doing, or it's so relative to the situation. Yeah, so if you've got a specific one, if you want some advice, I'm more than happy to give that to you.
Not specifically, but for the things that we're doing currently, you can relate to them, because for the people who don't know and are listening to this podcast, Kaitlyn used to run the Seagull magazine. In the Coromandel, beautiful magazine, which started with our dear friend Delicono, and then Sam, Kaitlyn, and Blair took over the magazine. That was a beautiful project. And then Lana Garland also put her hand on it, which was a beautiful project called Marama. And as you know, these things, you got to put a lot first. And people see advertisers and people see you out there. They think you're making something out of it. They don't see that all your hours are going into it. That printing, it's massive, like the cost for printing, the petrol to take the magazines, like
the crying when you forget to put in an advertiser and they call you really angry.
Yeah, or the wrong one, even worse. That was not the right edge. It's like, damn, now I lost the space and they put it.
Yeah.
But like, so it's not that I'm worried about it, because I see the process, but I often think about all the people who were doing it, and then they just gave up. And I read something that Taylor told me a few months ago. He was like, most of the time when you give up, it's because something was very close to you to happen.
Yeah.
And I often think about those people who are doing it, and thinking, damn, how long is it going to take? Forgetting that the journey is also a big part of it.
Yeah.
Trying to find some fun or trying to find some enjoyment. So for us, it's easy because this is cool. The podcast is fun. The magazine is a pleasure to see it ready. Wow, look at this.
Yeah.
We're achieving. But again, I see a lot of people not having that fun element. And fun is a big one in life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, I'm not too sure if it's like a personal thing, but I talk to a lot of friends, especially from countries that are, where life is a bit harder. And they're like, damn, man, how long is this going to go for? Like how much of my life is going to go into the hustling, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think as well, like, sometimes you do have to know when to stop. Like, sometimes there is an end point and you're chasing after a dream that's not actually for you, or maybe it never actually was. I see that happen a lot. Like, people are doing something that they think they should be doing based on what their parents told them or their friends or whatever. And that's really hard to come to terms with. But also there is something to be said for like the tenacity and the grit and showing up when you're the only one showing up and you feel like you're all alone in this world and you don't know if it's going to work or you don't know if you're ever going to get there. And I think when you know you're on the right path, even if it feels like you don't know if you're going to get there, you couldn't imagine doing anything else. It's like, well, if I'm going to dedicate my life to this, I'm going to be obsessed about this, I'm going to do this because I don't know, like there's nothing else that I want to be doing. And a lot of people don't have that because they do follow those things that maybe like they've been brought up thinking they should do or been told that they should do. And when you find your thing, you just kind of get obsessed with it and you can't imagine ever it being different.
Yeah.
And accepting that there will be changes, right?
Yeah, definitely. Change isn't always fun, but you just got to roll with it sometimes.
Christine, when it comes to whānau, to family, so there was a time in your life that you didn't have children.
There was,
yeah. And you were looking at things and thinking about things to do, and then family, something that it happens. It's there. Like, how is the mindset when it comes to things that you want to achieve and like and then you, how is it? Do you add the family to it, or like you can still separate your personal goals to a family goal?
Well, I guess this is going to get like a little bit deep, but
Please, I'm here for it.
When we first got pregnant, we were very young, and at the time we were wanting to travel and stuff, and we were like, just travel with kids. We'll just do it. We haven't, but at the same time, we're just like, oh, I'd rather hang out with my kids and travel with kids. So I don't know. I don't feel like we've put anything on the back burner. Every time we wanted to really put our mind to something like move towns because we wanted to try living in a different town, or just stuff like that. I think we were just like, they'll be sweet. They're kids. They adapt. We'll just do it. Yeah. So I don't think we've really put too much on the back burner. Like there are some things where you're like, you can't go out every single night till midnight because they do have to sleep. But yeah,
damn it.
Like big things like that, we've always just said, oh, we'll figure it out. It's fine. Yeah.
Yep.
So I think we were just pretty chill about being parents and trying to go after things that either made us happy or want to change or anything. So Yeah.
How do you see that, Kaitlyn? People who come to you with families, with children, and separating or putting things together, the professional side of things, the family side of things.
Yeah, well, I guess most people that I work with that have families, it's like their why is for their family. Like the reason they want to succeed or the reason they want to achieve something is because they want to be able to provide for their family or take care of their family or be an example for their family. And that's a really beautiful thing. And like I feel honored to also be able to witness that and even hear your story and like have people who are willing to do the work and show up and want to be like the best version of themselves for their children. Like that is so beautiful. And I think it's really important for children to see as well, because I know like in my generation and generations before growing up, like didn't really see that in a parent. And you could say now because of technology and all these things that, you know, we share too much and we talk about too many things, but I feel like we are really breaking that kind of generational like stigma of like staying together to do this or whatever and not actually doing the things that we want and not actually living the lives that like we want to with or without our families, like however that looks. And I think it's really special.
Yeah.
How is your relationship with social media, with technology?
I love it. Like if I didn't have social media, I wouldn't have such ease in my business. Like that's amazing. I've made and met some really amazing people through Instagram where we've like back and forth on the DMs, and I've recently met someone that I've known for like 5 years as a friend on Instagram, and we finally were in the same country at the same time in December last year, and we finally met for the first time. And like I have several friends that I've actually met based on like liking their content or something, and like I'm really thankful for that. I definitely have to have boundaries within social media because, you know, it's so easy to get caught up on scrolling or comparing and all of those things. And now I hardly follow anyone unless like, I think I follow less than 200 people. I got real weird about it a couple of years ago and I removed all of my followers. Like I didn't follow anyone. That really messed with the algorithm when you're not engaging.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, yes, I feel very lucky I didn't grow up in an age of technology and having social media. I have no idea like how you handle it now as a parent or even how the kids, like some of the things I see and the struggles I had even with comparison stuff just by having magazines in the TV, not social media. But like as an adult, being able to make choices, being able to create boundaries, like I very much enjoy. I use Instagram. That's pretty much all I use, but I really love it.
I guess with the right boundaries, Christine, with the right filters and the right time management, there's amazing stuff out there for children,
Yeah, there's heaps of like my son's a gamer, so he does Fortnite and Roblox and
all the good ones.
Whatever. Yeah, whatever he plays. But we've always like I wouldn't overly say we monitor it, but we very like, you know, play with people you know, but it's I feel like all the technology is real scary as an adult, like as a parent, because you're like, you don't know what, like they've got headphones on most of the time, you can't hear what the other person's saying to them, or if it is actually their friend, and like online bullying is so much easier accessible now, and I don't know, I think it's just parents need to be a bit more vigilant, maybe a bit more present when the kids are gaming, not just like go away and game for 12 hours of the day and let's hope for the best.
And I guess like the education that just because someone online says that there's someone that doesn't necessarily make it true, and unfortunately that is something that we do have to be aware of when we have our children or youth on those platforms, because unfortunately that's a scary fact. But if they've got the education and they know they're not to go meet up with a stranger that looks, you know, like I don't know, I think having conversation and having open dialogue is really important from what I've seen with my friends with kids as well. You're
just keeping everything open and making sure we're all on the same page. Like a lot of us mums like when, say, one of our children are in trouble, but multiple were involved, we message first.
Yeah.
And we say, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
because they've all done the same thing. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And then we'll be like, oh, what do you think about this? And like, yeah, we'll all do that. Everyone, let's all do that, and then perfect.
Yeah.
And so everyone sort of gets the same discipline, but
That's cool.
that's it. You got to connect. You got to get with the other parents, and like, we're always watching.
Always watching.
Yeah, we're always watching. We know everything. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's just having the open communication, not only with your children, but all the other parents around you, if you can, or like me and my husband are quite open with everything. Like, we're pretty much on the same page with most discipline, and
That's very helpful too.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Makes it's not like, oh, it's your turn. We're like, we're gonna do this, and like, yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
United front.
Yeah.
How important.
Kaitlyn, I asked you for a little write up, and you were very modest.
It's either modest, or do you want a like 5-page long thing of all the stuff I've been a part of?
Let me rephrase it. It was perfect. What you said.
Thanks.
But you've done a few different things in life, and one thing that caught my attention was the intuitive business consultancy. Can you tell me what that is, and for people who are listening and are getting into that vibe of like starting a business or have a business, and how is it like a holistic approach, would you say, to business?
Sort of. So like, I'm super obsessed with efficiency, and a lot of the work that I do is like going into a business, seeing what's wrong, seeing how we can fix it, and usually that's like with systems and processes. The intuitive part comes into that because I am super intuitive, psychic tendencies, and it's very easy for me to look at something and see where the gap is. It's very easy for me to like, it's like I can see energy moving, and then I'll see where it's skipping, and so I'll visually see there's something wrong with energetically there. And so I'll be able to like hone in on that space and be like, okay, well, why don't we try this, or why don't we do this different, and wait for that energy to reconnect. And usually that's where like the stagnant part has been, or something needed to change. And so the intuitive part comes in, because it's like I don't necessarily use like data spreadsheets and things like that. I'm just like, oh, it's this.
Yeah.
Because I see. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So like in a practical way.
Yep.
Can you give me an example of a business that is in operation, and then something that you would come and spot, like, oh, that's holding you guys back?
So a lot of like in my early stages of business was like even just moving companies from paper invoicing to online invoicing. So you're creating a system. Generally I use Xero, and would put in like being able to do the bookkeeping through Xero. So all of a sudden you've freed up 40 hours of someone's time a week writing things manually and being over things, and just like creating that little, stopping that bottleneck creates so much more flow in the business. And then there's more time to do other things, or it's easier to see the data, or you haven't accidentally lost one of the invoices when you open the car door and all the papers went everywhere. Like that's a really basic but easy example, because a lot of people still manually do a lot of things. There's a lot of resistance to moving to technology, and that's like so fair. We grew up in that stage where technology was introduced, but we've been able to adapt really well because of our ages. But I can just imagine like never having to do any of that, and then being like dead against using a computer or using a phone to like streamline things. So there's also a lot of that, like assisting and holding space for that person to navigate new changes as well. And that's often an energetic like space holding too.
Do you think our generation works too much?
What do you mean, our generation?
Like
yeah.
30s,
What age?
30s,
Yeah, what age are we going
something early 40s, like the people who are now, running the businesses,
The millennials.
The millennials.
I don't know. I feel like we've been told to work. Like the generation that raised us was like, you're not going to get anything unless you don't work.
Mm.
And then I think the generation below us is like,
Meh.
do some fun shit first,
Yeah.
and it'll come to you eventually. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I am very lucky because traditionally for probably the last 10 years, I work about 6 months and then I travel for about 6 months. That's just been what I like, been what I love, and I've had support from my parents for doing that. But I do definitely think that our generation was raised by, our elders telling us to do a job and work and save and buy a house and do this in a particular order. And I think often we can be caught in that like rat race without really taking the time to think, what do I want to do? What do I like doing? And when we have a life where we like what we do, and like doesn't mean things are fun all the time, there still can be challenges when we love our work, but it's like there becomes more freedom to not like sit at a desk from 9 to 5 for 40 hours a week. So I'd say that there is a lot of people working too much, doing things that they don't like for reasons that they don't even know. And we get to show them that there can be different ways.
Yeah. There's always that thing with exactly why are you doing that? Like why are you, is it a mortgage?
Yeah.
Is it a family, like bills? Like
Yeah.
what is it that, are all those bills like, do you need all of them? Like I was talking to a friend and she was saying, oh man, I wish my mortgage was not that, that big. I wish I should have thought about that before,
Yeah.
tapping into this big responsibility. And I feel that's a human thing, isn't it? We look at something and we love it, but then we forget that there's maintenance. There's a lot of
Everything
work
coming behind it.
Yeah.
to keep something
Yeah.
alive, right? And that's when the simple life kicks in, I guess. And a lot of people get rid of everything they had to live the simple life, and that's when they say that they have actually found happiness, isn't it?
Yeah.
The simple life.
Yeah, and I think as well, like this is actually a little bit of a premise of what I wrote my book on, is like the questioning. And this can also probably be a little bit controversial. It's like if you have a mortgage and the bills you have to pay, like those are still all a choice. A lot of people would say to me like, oh, you're so lucky, like you get to travel and you get to do this. And like, it's a choice for me not to have a house and to have a mortgage, because if I did have those things, I wouldn't be able to live the life that I do. It's a choice for me not to have children because this is the life and the lifestyle that I want. So I'm choosing not to do that. Like some people, I guess, as well, don't even think of children as a choice. If you get pregnant, you have a child. It's actually still a choice and you don't have to choose that. And so I think as well, if we're not questioning, and that's pretty much the premise of my book, like questioning what you believe to be true, because if you haven't questioned it and you're just carrying on and doing these things, then you get to a point where you're like, whoa, what the fuck am I doing? But if you're questioning along the way and you're like, oh yeah, but I want to do this and I want to make this choice. I want to have a mortgage.
Right.
I might not be able to travel for a bit, but I'm happy to make that choice. I want to have children. If I travel, I'll travel with my children. Like you're questioning along the way, so you don't necessarily, sometimes you can still get to that place where you're like, oh my God, what the fuck? But generally more than often it's not like that, because you're still going along the path questioning.
Do you get to teach people how to question? Because again, we're so, like sometimes we grow up in that box,
Yeah.
and you don't even have the skill. You don't have that tool in your toolbox. You don't even know that it's possible to question things.
Well, I guess this is even when social media can become like a tool, because you can look at social media for inspiration and what other things are available, what other parents are out there that travel with their children, what are the things they talk about. Does it look like fun? Do they share all the moments like in the airport when the kids are having a meltdown? Like being able to get like a general idea of the things that you want to do allows us to start questioning. I think generally we are always questioning whether we realize it or not, even if we're in comparison, because we're like, why aren't we like them? So it's about learning to ask the right questions instead of, I guess, allowing the narrative to just run. And I don't want to say unfortunately, but it's like that does have to come from within. Some people don't want to ask the questions. Like once you know, you can't not know. And there are days where I wish that I was naive about a lot of things. Yeah. It's like, oh, do I really want to know this? Once I start digging, I can't come back. But yeah, asking the right questions, I guess, does become an art, but you just have to start by asking any questions, and I feel like you'll lead yourself there anyway. I have curious and curiouser tattooed on my wrist, and it is just a reminder to stay curious because I'm very good at jumping into judgment of myself and others, and you know, don't know what you believe about the universe and what you believe to be true, but it's like, is this person a mirror of me? Is this person a reflection? Like, is there something that I need to learn from this? If I'm being judgmental of them, then at some level I'm being judgmental of myself. And
I often think everyone says, don't think about what the others say or what the others think about you. I'm like, so many people say that, which means that we're all thinking about that, right? We're all thinking about what the other ones are thinking about us. God damn.
I read something, I think it must have been online the other day, and it was like, people always tell you, oh, don't care about what other people think of you. And the truth is we're always going to care, but are you going to let the worries of what you think other people might be thinking of you stop you from just like going out there and getting after it? Because one, you're never going to be able to control every perception of you. Like one of the favorite things I remember reading, it's like the 100 people you know all have a different idea of who you are, and that idea is different to who you think you are. Like there's no consistent narrative. It's all just a story, which is like scary. So we're always going to care regardless, but it's like, will I let that stop me? Or am I going to just keep going and trust it will be what it will be? And what I use is that that quote, I think it's Dita Von Teese, and she says, you might be the juiciest peach in the world, but not everyone likes peaches. And it's like, you just got to do you, because there's always going to be someone that doesn't like you. There's always going to be someone that talks shit about you or makes up stories or rumors. And there's going to be people that are supporting you and got your back. And like, do you have your own back? I think that's the most important thing, even though sometimes it can feel like the most lonely thing.
Yeah.
I often think about how we change. Because that's the journey, right? It's beautiful when that's my view. It's beautiful when you open to changes, especially if they're good changes, if you're improving, But again, still, a lot of people will have the image that they always had from you, or when they knew you 15 years ago.
Yeah, they're like, oh, you've changed. It's like, yeah, growth, man.
Yeah, growth.
Thank God.
But then, especially when you start to put your face out there, when you put yourself out there, you open to that. You open to what people had at an image of you or still has from years ago. They don't even talk to you anymore, but they will say, oh yeah, oh Kaitlyn, I remember her at school. At school?
Yeah.
Like, whoa, like it's a different human now. Yeah. And that can greatly affect us if you hear that from the, through the grapevine. If someone comes and say, oh, someone was saying that, and you're like, it's that ability of saying, hey, that's not even me anymore. But as humans, we might take that punch, hey?
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned this, because I think I've been thinking about this for two reasons today. Is like, one, when I wrote my book, that was something I had to come to terms with. What I write right now and what I publish, people might hold me against, and I might change my mind in 5 minutes. And can I be okay with that? And it's the same thing being on this podcast. It's like my words are being recorded, my view, whatever I'm talking about. I can change my mind like on my drive home and be like, oh, wow, no, don't think that anymore. I don't believe that. But now I'm held to these words in this moment in time. And it has been like leaning into the discomfort of being misunderstood. Took me a long time, because like been misunderstood, about a lot of things, and it is uncomfortable because you just want to shout from the rooftops and be like, no, this is what I meant. But like, that's a waste of time. Misunderstand me. I don't care anymore about that.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
And then you start to understand why so many successful people, like successful that we say, like famous people, let me rephrase it. So many famous people suffer of depression or commit suicide or are deeply like sad. It's because of that constant bombarding of random people thinking that they know who the person is, but you're just a human taking all of that. It takes a lot of practice.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure, and it's not for everyone. You know, being misunderstood at any level, like our brains, we're wired for survival, so we want to be a part of something. If we're misunderstood, there's room to be ostracized and to be left out and then left behind, and then we die. If we're in caveman days, and our brain, you know, sometimes can't spot the difference, and so it's like, it's really painful. It's really painful.
How do we I think that there's a cool connection there in the segue also to health, which is another topic that you like to talk about, from what I understand.
Yes.
Because when we're happy with ourselves, when we're healthy, it's easier to deal with those emotions. Is that right?
Yes, I believe so. And I also believe that, you know, we are human and we have a range of emotions, and some days we'll have high days and some days we'll have low days. And I don't believe that we've traditionally been taught that that's what happens and that that's real, and that some days we'll be angry and we won't understand, and some days we'll be happy and we won't understand, and just all these different things. And so we try to be something more specific. And it's like, if we just allowed ourselves the permission to like go through our feelings, I think we'd move through them a lot faster. And I know that there's nuances, of course, with health and mental health and stuff like that. But like, my mental health experiences in my journey when I was like 16, 17, 18, I felt like a burden. I felt like I didn't belong. Like, I didn't feel like I could be anywhere, so I wanted to take my life. I know so many people at that age that feel alone and feel like they don't belong anywhere, and that, what am I going to do? Where do I fit? I don't fit here. If we were taught that that's just normal at that age, like, you know, you're going to feel like you don't fit in, you don't belong, that there's a cool group that you're not part of, even if you are, like, you're going to feel alone, and that's fine. I think if we were taught to and had more permission for those things, then things wouldn't escalate so much. I think. I don't know, what do you think, especially like having kids and stuff?
I don't know, like, I feel like growing up as well that you were told to just like suck it up, which when you think about it, like, I wouldn't want my children feeling like that and then telling them to just suck it up and then feeling like the only other option is an out. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think having open conversation and open dialogue, and just like even being the example that we can feel so many different ways, I think that just relaxes so much of the pressure that we feel. But I definitely also am a very big advocate for when we do have our health, whether that's physical, mental, emotional, all of the healths, that we do show up in a different way, and we do like, we want to be the best version of ourselves. And, you know, I don't know anyone who, you know, doesn't have health and is like, oh, this is fine, I don't need my health. Yeah, I think it's very important. And yeah, it's just like, even my journey through health has been so interesting. I left school and became a personal trainer, and then I was a yoga teacher, and then I went through like 3 years where I just avoided any exercise because I just hated that world, and like come full circle back into it.
How is the coming back? How hard is it after you stop, and then you have to pick up the pieces?
Yeah, I got to a point where I was like, okay, well, I've, like, for example, for myself, I went through a whole probably 12 to 15 years of excessive diets and this and trying to look like this and having body dysmorphia and, you know, so many things. And I'm very, very thankful that I'm like more on the outside of that now. But it's like I decided one day, like, okay, I want to take the time to look after my body, to look after my hormones, because I've been doing this for 15 years. It's probably going to take me a good 3 to 5 years to just get back to like normal. And I think that was hard to like slow down, because we live in this world of like instant gratification and do this diet and try this and this exercise is the best one for abs. And it's like, okay, I'm just going to be consistent, and small consistency over time compounds. Like habit stacking is just incredible in all areas, business, health, everything.
What are you doing currently that you consider great for your health, for your mental health?
Oh, wow. A couple of things. I use a product called MetaPower through dōTERRA, and it's a collagen product because I was looking for a product with collagen because I'm aging.
What?
Blasphemy. I'm very lucky because I do have amazing skin and I do look a lot younger than I am.
Then you're 64 years old.
I used to always joke it was all the children's hearts that I'd eat. That's a bit creepy.
Do you still get asked for ID when you go anywhere?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Depends on the situation, but yeah. I got ID'd for non-alcoholic drinks the other day. I thought that was weird.
What?
Yeah, at supermarket, if you buy non-alcoholic drinks, you have to have an ID as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, distracted. I'm really good at tangents. MetaPower also has NAD plus and NADH, I think it is, and they're precursors to NAD plus. And NAD plus is something our body naturally creates to like help with our aging, but as we get older, it drops off. So this product allows me to have cellular repair and allows like what's his name, Dr. David Sinclair does a lot of research on like anti-aging and reversing the effects of aging and treats aging as a disease. And I don't know how much of that
aging as a disease.
I don't know how much of it I'm into. Yeah,
right.
I feel like
controversial there.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
But the research is done on these products, and creating NAD plus in the body reverses the signs of aging. So essentially, I use a product that helps with that. And even I've only been using it for 3 months. Like my body composition, my energy levels, my intuition, like so many different things have changed. My consistency and want to show up. It's been like incredible. And I've also seen a bunch of other people use it and get really different results. But it's like it works because it's cellular repair. It works on how you need it.
Yeah.
So that's been huge for my health. Getting outside in nature has always been a really big one. And living here, we're so lucky. Whatever, if you live in Matarangi or you live in Whitianga or I live in Hot Water Beach, it's like we are just so blessed with gorgeous ocean, bush, everything. So I think for mental health, for physical health, for anything, like being outside, even if it's just being able to put your feet on the grass, like how many studies are there done now about earthing and how it actually changes the frequency and everything in your body. Like it's so important. And yeah, like those two things are really, really big for me, moving my body, because I do have a fit, able body. Like how lucky am I? Like not everyone in the world gets that. And so that's really important to me to use that for my advantage. And then having the supplement that I've been using has been the same thing. It's like allowing me to be in my most optimal health, which means that I can show up and I can do business and I can do friendships and I can do whatever I'm doing from this like really optimal space, which I'm all about.
I wanna touch on the aging thing.
Yes,
because
please.
now I'm thinking in Brazil, because it's a country where it's just like the life expectancy it's lower. You know, there's poverty, there's misery, there's pollution.
Yeah.
There's a massive amount of people, so it's easy to relate aging with a disease.
Yeah.
It's a problem, you know, like, because you know that you're going to need medicines, and a lot of people will start suffering when they are 40, 50s because they see their parents needing help, and then they start to, you know, it's happening in my family, you know, and then there's that thing of like, oh damn, are we next? And then of course affects us as well as the children, thinking, oh, mom and dad are struggling to look after their parents if they're lucky to have them alive. But then you also see amazing older people who really look after themselves. They look old, because they are. Yeah. But they're running marathons, you know, like they're going out there and living the best life. So I was just thinking when you were talking about, I'm aging. What is for you the healthy way of approaching aging? Because we're all aging, like you know, like nowadays we see people like doing these extreme studies and like crazy lifestyles to Botox, and some people even going like hard, you know, like there's a guy who goes in podcasts quite often and he looks like an old man, you know, he's 40, he's 60, whatever, but like you can tell you just doing all these treatments. So does it get to the ego side of things, and then it's also a conversation with your ego, or like it's a mix of like wanting to look young to talk to your body and feel like, no, you're young, you can do this thing. So how is the talk to someone who's got this thing of like, oh, I'm aging, but I want to still be there, look good?
This is something I'm really passionate about, and it's probably a little bit different to what you're expecting, but the act of aging is a fucking privilege. Like, I'm not joking. I have experienced so much death in my life. Like, it has been one of those things that has been the underlying current. I've had so many of my friends die. I've been to more funerals than my age. And, you know, sometimes I think like, you know, my friends didn't live past 16. My friends didn't live past 18. Like, to be able to be 31 is such a privilege, to be able to live into your 50s, to be able to age. Like, I think that that's something that really has to be thought about and taken into consideration, because it is a real privilege. In saying that, we also grew up in a time, myself especially, and I'd say the two of you, where, you know, aging is all over the magazines and all over social media, that you're supposed to look like a certain way at a certain age, and it can be so much pressure to not look like those girls in the magazine, and you don't look like the girls on TikTok or Instagram, and it's like, is there something wrong with me? Should I change the way I look? Should I get Botox? What should I do for my skin? Should I find a collagen? Like, we still want to be part of the collective, part of the group. It comes back to like not wanting to be left out and die, essentially. And I think those two things are really big. And also, I know a lot of older people that they get to 50 and they're like, oh, life's over. And it's like, it doesn't actually have to be like that. Like, you do see people that are in their 50s, 60s, 70s still going strong. Like, one of my friend's mums in town, I think she must be in her 70s. She still runs a business. She's fucking fit. She's an inspiration, maybe late 60s. But, you know, you think of other 60-year-olds, and my grandma's like 74 and she's not fit and she is frail, and that's from health reasons as well. But it's like, we have to remember that it's so important how we treat our bodies now, how we look after our bodies now for how we age, especially getting older. Like, strength training, if I could recommend anything to anyone after getting your feet on the earth, it would be strength training, because when you strength train, you strengthen your bones, and it offsets, especially in women, the risk of osteoporosis.
Osteoporosis.
Yeah, where your bones just break because they're weak. But that starts now. That starts in your 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s, whatever age you're at. It's never too late. You're never too old. But like strength training will help you with so many things as you get older. And I think, yeah, it's about, for me, it was about wanting to have a body that I can live with through the ages instead of like getting frail and old early.
Do you worry about that, Christine? Aging process.
Not really. Like, I'm still stoked to get asked for ID. And that's with or without my kids, like at the supermarket. Like, do you have ID? I'm like, really? Do you see how big these kids are calling me mum? Really? But, meh, it is what it is. I'm not overly bothered. Like, I haven't had grey hair yet, so when I do,
I started getting
just
grey hair when
embrace
I was
it.
like 25.
Yeah, just embrace it. I don't know, wrinkles. It is what it is.
Yeah, I know. Like, this is just me smiling, having a good time.
Yeah.
Different bodies, different, like, I don't know, like the facelift in Brazil is just massive. I don't see much here, luckily, unless it's very well made.
Very well done.
Very well done.
Yeah.
There's some very good.
Because like it's unbelievable. Some people, like, I was like, you're looking great. You're aging and you're looking amazing. Like, that's it. Carry on aging. But the next minute they look like a doll.
Yeah.
Scary the kids, you know,
Yeah.
like, are you charging to scare kids? Like, what is it for? So yeah, I often think about it's same with like losing hair. I'm so bored and I joke about it, but sometimes it annoys me. I'm like, damn, it was cool and I could do stuff.
Yeah.
And now, but I think it's more about that. It's more like looking back and thinking, oh, I was able to do those stuff.
Yeah.
And now not anymore. But then it's also fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, cool. It is what it is now. There's
Yeah.
not, you know, there's not much that I can do. I'm not keen on an implant or whatever. But I see what you mean, like looking at what's going on and also wanting to keep up
Yeah.
Yeah.
with that, you know,
Yeah.
because if you can see people going through those processes, you think, well, it is possible to stay a bit younger, to look a bit younger.
Yeah. And like, I'm not against getting Botox or like injectables that I haven't to date, but like that kind of stuff costs money too. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it can be done really nicely. And I think, you know, it's
If
whatever
that's
you're
what you want,
comfortable with.
yeah,
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, and if you can afford to and get a good doctor, not like I just saw Dr. Nick on there as I said that. You would not go to him
Yeah.
for
Don't do that.
sorry. Just bring it back to
Bring
the
him over.
Simpsons.
Yeah.
This is the doctor that you need, my friend. Shout out the Simpsons. There you go, Dr. Nick.
That was an institution, right? Just
Yeah.
growing up with the Simpsons.
Yeah, everyone grew up with The Simpsons.
Yeah.
There you go. Kaitlyn, what were the most challenging businesses or paths that you chose in your life? You've done a few things. If you want to talk a little bit about them and the challenges that were involved.
Yeah, I think deciding to be an entrepreneur is like the fast track to personal development and self-awareness. Hopefully for most people, it's like you just have to figure it all out as you go. I'm sure you'd know that.
And the best way is by doing it.
Yeah, exactly. When we had the Seagull magazine, one of our lines in our mantra was like, if you didn't know how it was done, how would you do it? And that approach has helped me even working with other businesses, because I come into a business like Earthworks where that's not my industry. Because it's not my industry, I'm like, oh, why do you do that like that? That seems kind of weird. And they're like, oh, just because that was how it's done. But yeah, okay. That does seem like make more sense to do it like this. Because I don't know how it's done. I'm just like, that seems way easier. You know, it's that fresh idea. And I don't have any one particular business that like has been a specific challenge. It's all been like learning and growth, and like like I said, I've been a personal trainer, a yoga teacher. I used to do massage and Reiki. I used to work in bookkeeping and accounts. Worked on super yachts at one stage. I used to own in Toku in Hahe, plant-based smoothie caravan. used to do the Seagull magazine, and all of these have just been like different challenges in different areas of my life. And
in an interesting way, they are connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they make me who I am today, and like they give me the ability to work with business and just have a really broad range of like random information and how things work. But I think it all comes back to like, so many people have said to me like, oh, like I'm so in awe of what you do, because like I've wanted to do something like this for a long time, but I just haven't been able to start. And I think for me, starting's always been the easy part. Like, just do it. Like, what are you going to fail? Cool. Like, the worst thing that can happen in New Zealand when you fail is maybe you move home or to a friend's house that takes you in and you apply for the benefit for a bit. Like, we're pretty fucking privileged to be able to have those options. Some people don't want to use those as an option. Most people won't have to use those as an option, but why not try? Know that you tried. Know that you liked it or actually really didn't like it, and then keep going. Like, just got to start.
How was to work in a super yacht?
Oh, it was awful. I got yeah.
Yeah,
That's a clip.
Awful.
No, yeah. I got bullied severely by a couple on the boat, to the point where the chief stew was making up all these lies about me to the captain. Said all this stuff that didn't happen, and then like I'd seen her write the email to him while I was sitting next to her, like I could see what she was doing.
Oh no.
So I talked to the captain, and he's like, yeah, she's been in the industry for 10 years, we have to trust her. And I was like, okay, see ya. And then 2 weeks later they got fired for like stealing and doing all these other things.
Is it like Below Deck? Have you watched Below Deck?
I've not watched it,
Oh man,
but I
you should
think
watch Below Deck.
I think it's, yeah, it is very similar. Like I've got friends that work on the super yachts, and they've had great like instances,
Yeah.
and friends that have just gone for like a season, and
Like New Zealand based
yeah.
super yacht?
Not a couple of New Zealand based, and then a lot over in the Med, but they're from New Zealand, so they do like rosters and stuff.
I have a comment here. I wanna hear more, but we gotta. So we're live on Facebook. We're live on Instagram.
Hi,
we're live
everyone.
on Twitch.
Instagram too. Cool.
Yeah, on YouTube. And Levi Snow, because we were talking about aging and everything, and he says we can live past 150 years, fasting and organic, Kai. Shoo, my bro is into it. Levi, you text me about the juice, right? The organic juice. Keep in touch, my bro. We're keen to have a chat about that. Well, good food does take us a long way, right? So sorry, I want to go back to the super yachts, but it was a comment on where we were before.
Something that I was going to say when we were talking about aging, it's like we extend, this is why like it's a bit controversial. Like obviously I take a supplement that helps with my aging. We currently have the capability to extend human life longer than it should in a lot of cases. And we live in a world that is very populated, and I just sometimes think, do we need to live longer?
Yeah.
Really? Do we need more humans?
Great point.
I mean, this might not get you a lot of likes, and I might be cancelled.
It might go viral.
You can regret it in the car.
Yeah, I'll regret it on my drive home. But like, you know, we just had this, I don't even know if I should say it. We just had this huge, like 3 years of this virus being released, like whatever happened, however it happened. But like, what happens if we just let it run rampant and people died? Like people died. Wow, that sucks, but people die, and maybe we just needed that to happen. Maybe we don't need people to live as long as they are. Maybe we do need Mother Nature to like step in. I mean, like death is very painful and it sucks, and like I don't wish that upon anyone ever, and we all die.
We're all gonna go through it, right?
Yeah.
It's all gonna happen. It's gonna happen to all of us.
Yeah. So do we need to prolong aging? Not sure. Do we need to live to 150? Not sure, but you know, who knows?
But I guess the point is like in a healthy way. If you're looking after yourself.
Yeah.
If you're doing the things.
But could you imagine this world populated with very healthy 150-year-olds, but like no one's dying, so the population just keeps increasing, and like, God, that's kind of, I won't say that.
It's a good point, because in a way, I had this conversation not that long ago with a friend. It feels like the main industries that dominate the world, pharmaceutical one, the food industry, they dictate the rhythm of our lives. You know, you're born and then you eat these foods and then you get this education and then you're slowly actually getting damaged by the foods that we give to you so we can heal you at this stage and we can make you pay all the money back.
How far down the rabbit hole do you want to go?
But you know, but like it's a very simple way.
The ultimate passive income.
Oh yeah, and it's like honestly, it's just giving shit to again to the industries that don't want to see our well-being.
Yeah.
You know, that are amazing
so many
ones.
industries.
That are amazing ones, as the bro said, the ones producing the organic food, the ones making an effort to bring a product that it is actually helping you to live better. Yeah. But like when you go to the aisles of the supermarkets, why do we have the rating stars and all that stuff? Because someone in the government is saying, maybe we should tell these people that it's like, it's not that great. No, but maybe we should. Okay, put a little star at the bottom and just tell them that it's not great, but we still have to sell that. You know, like, so I see your point 100%. Would be interesting to see a world full of old people. But what if this 100-year-old people are out there in nature, you know, in the garden, doing good? That would be a different world, right? A world full of 150 years old.
We live
in the hospital and the young ones having to pay for them. That would be horrible. Yeah. But I feel like it's just how we approach health. Yes. That is like, come on, kids. Back to super yacht.
Oh, we can skip right over there.
What I was curious about, what I was curious about it was like to the human experience for your journey, because you're dealing with people. And I don't even mean bad people, but like people who have a condition, like they are more wealthy maybe or something.
They have a lot of money.
They have a lot of money. And then you're there serving. And I guess a lot of them can be very nice to you. They're just a bunch of humans. And how is that?
My captain said to me in my interview, how do you feel being a slave? When they call, you will come. Water. Wow. And I was like, I mean, you know, I'm sure a lot of captains don't actually say that. Like, because obviously you are there to be like a servant. But for me, choosing to go on the super yachts, I really wanted to see a different kind of wealth. Growing up, that's not what was mirrored in my world. And I know that wealth is out there and some people find it really easy to make money. We were talking about manifesting. I don't know if it was before the show started or how much of that was on the show, but it's like, unless you can see expansions of what is possible for you, then you're not going to believe that to be true for yourself. And I would really like to be able to spend summers on a super yacht in the Mediterranean as a guest. So, you know, I know what the yachts are like. I know how I would treat people on the yachts. That situation didn't really work out for me, but it's a unique experience to be able to see such wealth and such levels of wealth. Yeah.
We get to see it quite a lot at the Coromandel, eh, Christine?
Wealth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And at the same time, it's a community, so we have completely the opposites of it, right?
I think, like from my experience with wealth, it's always the ones that show their money off aren't that wealthy. And it's the ones that look like average Joes and who are polite and who know what they want. They're the actual millionaires, multi-millionaires. Yeah.
I've experienced that as well.
So like working in retail, used to sell electronics and whatever, and very quickly you caught on that the ones that look like they had money are here to waste your time. Like they want the best deal, whatever. It's the men who come in gumboots who you know this is their one day off and they're here to buy shit and go home. Those are the ones that aren't looking for a deal. They just want to get their shit and they're out. Like, I know what I came for. There's a reason I'm at your store. I'm not just shopping. So, yeah. I think, I don't know, it all depends on the person and if they grew up with money, if they worked hard for their money, or yeah, and what wealth means to them.
That's so true.
Yeah.
That's like, what wealth means to you. You're talking about success before, like, that's one thing that I love people to question is, like, what does a successful life look like for you? Like, so many people, like I've talked about this a couple of times, we're conditioned, go to school, go to uni, get a job, get married, have kids, have a house, like all those things. And people base where they are in life based on that kind of scale, whether or not it's conscious. I would generalize and say majority of people have that kind of in the back of their minds. But if you take the time to ask yourself, okay, what does a successful life look like for me? Like, I personally love spending days just reading a book. Like, that to me is pure luxury, pure, like, joy. Love it. Some people are going to be like, fuck that, I don't want to spend a day reading a book. So I'll live, like, if I have enough money to do what I want to do and spend days reading a book and swim and do all these things, I feel like I'm being successful. I might not have a house and I might not be married and I might not have the kids and I might not have gone to uni, all of those things. But for me, that's what success looks like, is having a day to read a book. So if you ask yourself, like, what does success look like for me? And then that's what you're striving towards or working towards or whatever, like, that's going to be so different for each person, depending on what they like, if they have a family, if they don't, what they want to work towards. Like, I think we compare success, and in that stage can be wealth as well, because for some people, I want to spend summers on a super yacht in the Mediterranean. So my level of wealth that I want, not working, just on my super yacht, having a holiday. I want to go dance to drum and bass around Europe for the summer while staying on my yacht on my down days. Like, that would be my dream life. That would be me pinnacle success. There's not going to be a lot of people that would be like. Some people want their own land, that can live off the land and have their family there and have chickens and all those really good things. And that would be so, like, that they would just feel the pinnacle of success. And if we compared those things, they're very different.
Yeah.
I think it's important to figure out for yourself what success looks like for you. Like, what does wealth actually look like for you? How much money do you actually need for the life that you want? I'd ask you guys both those questions. Like, have you thought about what success means for you? How you compare or how you rate yourself living a successful life?
Of course, I'm giving that to you first, Christy. Of course.
A successful life. I don't know. I'm really content. Like, I'm pretty happy.
Nice.
Like,
Yeah.
I guess like a normal person. Okay, no, wait, okay, I lie. So, me and my friend talk about this all the time. The one thing that we want to have is a car with buttons. Like, like, you press the boot and it opens for you. You press the button and it closes. That's probably as much success as we want. Like, a car that helps us when our hands are full.
Yeah.
And then the one time we used our friend's car, we didn't know how to work it. So we're like, do we need it? Do we need this car? Yeah. So, yeah, I'm pretty, other than that, I feel like I'm pretty content. Like, I don't really want for nothing.
Well, we just got a reply from the audience. How cool. Shout out, Ezzy.
Hi, Ezzy.
So Ezzy says, it's about enjoying the time you have. That's what it is. Enjoying the time you have. That's success, enjoying the time you have.
Yeah.
Thanks, my friends. That's beautiful.
What does it look like for you?
Coming from where I come from, when I became a New Zealand resident, I felt fulfilled. I'm like, wow, there is actually a possibility now to fail and not be bearing like poverty, you know, like of not being susceptible to crimes and stuff, you know, because it's a poor country where we come from. There's massive wealth. There's too much wealth. That's why there's misery. That's how things work, right? Billionaires, misery. Without one, the other one doesn't exist. So coming here and understanding that there are different ways of living and you don't need much because people are cool and everyone is kind of like on a similar, there's discrepancies obviously, but you know, everyone is kind of on a similar path. When I realized that, when I understood, I can actually be here and do my thing and try different things. I was very happy. And then I started to question myself. I'm like, do I want to go quiet, retreat, live off the land and be on my own now, or do I want to go all in? And then I was like, I'm like, I'm 33. I'm going all in. You know,
33 this year.
when I got the residency, I was like, man, I'm already hustling. You know, I'm working hard. I can work harder.
Yeah.
And see if I can make my life and the life of my friends and the people around me a little bit more comfortable. Because I love that idea of people who succeed, let's say financially, but they spread. You know, like they bring their crew with them.
Yeah.
You know, like they make sure that, because that's how I see success. It's when your friends are happy. You know, when you call them for a party and no one has to bring anything. Because it's all, you know, the kind of thing of like, oh yeah, no, come on, let's go. Oh, I can't go. Nah, you can't go. I got you.
Just
you know,
in a small scale, like, let's go for lunch. I got you.
How cool.
Oh, how nice
when
is
those
that?
things happen. Even a coffee, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's go for a coffee. No, I got you. You know, like, so that those small things, they ended up driving me. I'm like, if we can do collaborative work, that everyone, that the people that we like understands that I just want the best out of them. If they give me their best, if they give me their 1 hour and a half sitting and doing the podcast, and because they're cool, and that's it. When the tide goes up, then we can all have fun and enjoy that. So I feel like that was the drive for me.
Yeah.
To pursue
That's so
more.
beautiful. Yeah.
I'm happy where I am.
Yeah.
You know, if everything stops, if we're like, nah, enough, done. Woo,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
It was cool while it went.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's the thing. If you got energy, you should be using it. And I agree with you with exercising and moving. You know, like if you got it, if you can, use it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's interesting that you say this as well, because I started my book with a poem that I wrote, because I wondered one day, like, okay, if I lost my ability to do everything, couldn't talk, couldn't move, like, how could I be in this world? Like, what would I be here to give? And I realized that my energy, like my vibe, I say in the poem, it's like that would have to be enough to carry me to still be able to be here and give to this world and be of service. Like that's been a big focus for me, is how can I make sure that my energy is that place, that safe space for people, or that motivator or that inspiration. And I think that it is really, really important. Yeah.
Can we read is it a long poem? How?
It's like, it's on the first kind of page. I can read it, or you can read it.
I would love you to read it, if it's okay.
Yeah. Like a little bit of.
Actually, I'm before you do that, so we can close the show with that.
Okay.
Could you give me a little bit more information on how to find you, how to access the book, the works that you were providing at the moment, just so we wrap it up with your poem? That would be cool.
Okay, cool. So this book, It Starts With You, I only published 100 copies and I don't have any left, but the Whitianga Library has a copy. So you're welcome to rent it out.
And there are some projects cooking, right, to make it accessible again?
Yeah, so
Cool.
I am looking to record the book, so it will be available on Spotify to listen to.
Vibe.
Yeah, we'll make sure to promote that.
Yeah,
when
thank
it's
you.
out there.
Yeah.
Cool.
So there's that. Social media, I just use Instagram, so it's at Life as Kaitlyn. I do have a podcast, but I have only done one episode in the past year, but I have some really cool interviews. That's on Spotify. That's called Curious and Curiouser. I kind of think that's about it.
So at the moment, it's like people looking into what would be the main thing to look for you now? It's an approach for businesses, is an ambition for like life coaching. Like what are the things that you would be more comfortable now for people who enjoys our conversation and want to get to know you more?
Well, I'm always open to just having chats and discussion, because I love like expanding through questions and opening up for what's possible. I'm just doing like 2 legs of business right now. I do my business consulting. So if you're having any troubles in business, or you're feeling like you're a little bit stuck, or you want to expand and grow and you want someone to support you, I'll be your number one cheerleader. And then I have my dōTERRA business. So that's the Meta Power stuff, dōTERRA oils, things like that. And you can just use products, or there's also like a business side to dōTERRA. So that's really fucking cool too. All of those things, though, I kind of talk about on my social media. But if you don't have social media, then probably I'd say
leave the cave.
I mean, social media is not for everyone. You
I'm
could
joking.
probably find me on Facebook, send me a message on Messenger, and if you don't have either of those, maybe comment. You've got something because you're
There you
watching
go.
YouTube,
You're
so
watching
comment
on
on
Yeah,
here
you've
and
got something.
we'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out.
If it's meant to be, they'll find you.
Yeah, I mean, please don't come to my house, but you can stop me if you see me down the street. That's fine. I think there was one more question, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, just how to
That's
find
it.
you and,
Yeah.
and how to get in touch.
There you go. Those are your options.
Is there anything that we didn't cover that you would like to plug it, or just to say something about something?
I feel like we just touched on like small aspects of conversation, and like I mentioned in our conversation, you know, you can be held to the words that you said about a certain things, but we don't have days to just sit here and actually have like full-blown conversations about everything. So if I've said anything that you're curious about or you'd like to question, I'm open to that. I'm not open to negative feedback. I'm not open to being rude or to being misunderstood. You can keep that to yourself.
Nice. Look at that. Shoo.
Boundaries. No, but I've really enjoyed being on the podcast and having a conversation. It's been wonderful. So
Thank you very
both
much.
for
Thank
having
you.
me.
Can we have that poem before we go?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, I'm nervous now. Okay. I asked myself a question some many moons ago, that if I lost my senses, which way that I would go. If I lost my ability to run and jump and play, would I be able to show up in this world as me every day? If I lost my speech, gosh, if I lost my sight, would I be able to make the world a better place just because of my vibe? So now I stand before you, still able and alive, but with a promise to my dying breath that I will always try to show up in this world, a human being of light, because you need to have all the colours to shine this pure and bright, to be a place of comfort, a safe place of delight, a reminder of all your worth, a reminder of all your might.
Cool. That's cool.
Beautiful.
Thank
you so much, Kaitlyn. That's cool. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Christine.
Thank you for having me back.
Thanks, Fano.
Thank you.
In the house. Cool. Just a quick thank you very much to Base Pizzeria for bringing us some amazing Kai. Henry, big supporter of the Altbays Table Talk. So if you are coming to the Coromandel, make sure to check them out. Base.fitty on the socials. We also had them on the big screen. Thanks so much for all the supporters, and look at this beautiful thing here. If you're listening to us, you can't see, I'm sorry, but I'm holding issue 13 of the Coromandel magazine anniversary issue. How cool.
Congratulations.
Thank
by the
you.
way.
Yeah,
that's
thank you.
Pretty fucking cool.
We have the beautiful Charlotte Giblin on the cover. Top artist, and a bunch of cool pieces. If you wanna advertise on the magazine, if you are a smart business that knows that your brand will be seen for a long time because the magazines stay at places because they look cool, make sure to hit us up, hello@coromines.nz. And the magazine is made by the community, so if you want to share a story, or if you want to tell us about your art, or send some of your artwork, we would love to publish it. hello@coromines.nz. If you want to listen to the audio version of the magazine, coromines.nz. And that's us, live every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m.